This episode of Couch Potatoes Unite! Was brought to you by our very first brand new, totally awesome sponsor, Heritage Theater Group. Stay tuned for the podcast after a word from our sponsor.
Heritage Theater Group is proud to announce their 2017 season. Opening on July 13, Shakespeare's classic tale of morality and justice, Measure for Measure, will be playing on the Spectrum Theater main stage through the 22nd. Closely following that in the black box space will be The Importance of Being Earnest, Oscar Wilde's hilariously satirical farce. Ernest opens on July 27 and closes on August 27. We are rounding out the season with the existential tragicomedy Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead by Tom Stoppard, running August 10 through 19. For tickets and more information, visit heritagetheatergr.org. That's heritage, THEATREGR.org. Or give us a call at 616-951-4842. We hope to see you there.
Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! This is a podcast based on a blog of the same name because we are Couch Potatoes Unite. Get what I did there? My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out the blog at couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For at Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, ! Wishes you rest from the summer heat and hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including but not limited to Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Grimm, American Horror Story, How to Get Away with Murder, and the Marvel's Netflix series, including Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. Plus, a bevy of new episodes are in the works, including revisits for Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, New Girl, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Supernatural, The 100, Once Upon a Time, Doctor Who, Orange is the New Black, The Originals, and the DCTU series panel covering Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl with an episode for each show. A final visit with our Broadchurch panel to say goodbye to the mystery drama from across the pond. We'll be launching a new panel covering Lemony Snicket's Unfortunate Events and Sense8, which is getting a finale episode later, so we're no longer looking back at it. A new series anniversary retrospective about the Buffyverse, covering Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, and because we also look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at Marvel's Agent Carter. What's more, CPU from time to time goes live. We've appeared at Comedy Outlet Mondays at Dog Story Theater and at Grand Rapids Comic-Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan, while streaming live on Facebook. More live appearances are being planned, so make sure you like us at our Facebook page, our Twitter, follow us at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, and or our Pinterest at CPU Podcast, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear your show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we're always seeking new panelists. So if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback. Simply refrain from kidnapping us and threatening to kill us in all sorts of painful and scary ways. There's no need for such mad extremes. Today, we're around the water cooler to discuss Season 3B, encapsulating the end of the Mad City arc and the Hero's Rise arc of Gotham, the crime drama based on characters appearing in and published by DC Comics from the Batman franchise, primarily those of James Gordon and Bruce Wayne. The show's third season finale aired on June 5th, 2017. Created by Bruno Heller, the series stars Ben McKenzie as the young Jim Gordon long before he became commissioner of the Gotham City Police Department. As originally conceived, the series would have served as a straightforward story of Gordon's early days on the Gotham City Police Department force. The idea evolved not only to include the Wayne character, played by David Mazouz, but also to tell the origin stories of several Batman villains, including the Penguin, the Riddler, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, the Scarecrow, Mr. Freeze, Hugo Strange, and the Joker. In the second half of the third season, Gordon, played by Ben McKenzie, continues to tangle with hypnotist Jervis Tetch, played by Benedict Samuel. His sister Alice's poisonous blood drives many crazy. Jerome Valeska is revived by devoted acolytes to resume his previous vendetta against the city. Gordon is additionally forced to deal with the Court of Owls, working on behalf of Ra's al Ghul, played in this show by Alexander Siddig, known from Deep Space Nine and Game of Thrones. Penguin, played by Robin Lord Taylor, and Ivy, played by Maggie Jiha, team up, and Edward Nygma, played by Corey Michael Smith, embraces becoming the Riddler. Our committed group of Bat fans, Hilary, Kyle, Spencer, and Nick, are back to dissect in our usual devoted detail, for better or for worse, the second half of Gotham Season 3. We're also going to speculate on what Season 4 might look like, as the show was renewed. In fact, it will be relocated to Thursday nights, and the fourth season will premiere on September 28, 2017. Before we do, as always, I'm going to take a moment to double-check the panel's temperature. After all, as we all know, sometimes a TV show can take turns for the better or the worse in our heads, or it could continue its level of awesomeness or lack thereof, depending upon its story evolution. With Gotham, we just never know. As always, it should be noted that all of our panelists have viewed the entire show to date and will, let's face it, discuss sensitive plot points. So, for those of you who are not caught up on Gotham, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you?
Good. Really well.
Are you ready to talk about this second half of the third season?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm more enthusiastic than Nick.
I can tell. It's apparent. Well, we're going to go through the CPU standard character question, which of course changes with each show we do, so we can see where you are nowadays. And this literally changes by half season, and again it's changed, and again I've tweaked the descriptions. So I'm going to read them out loud as I normally do, and then we'll go through and you get to pick one again, or four, as some people do. Sound good?
Suspiciously kind of in my direction.
Well, to be fair, I also picked multiples for this one.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I also like that it's standard and it changes all the time.
Yes, that's the joke. That's the joke.
Oh, boy. Sorry.
Jeez. So how would you rate your interest in Gotham nowadays? Do you watch it for more detailed backstory about the Caped Crusader, as you're interested in his childhood, what made him decide to fight crime as Batman, and how he decides to finally don the cape in question, bats and all, like Bruce Wayne? Do you watch it because you feel enough attention hasn't been paid to supporting characters in the mythology, and you wonder how everyone in Gotham City made the choice of the right or wrong side of the line? Or you're watching because you're sticking with the show, for better or for worse, as you think it's fighting its way back from the darkness, just like you did, like Jim Gordon? Do you watch it to learn the backstories of Batman's biggest foes and how they finally came into their identities, like Edward Nygma, aka the Riddler, and or became worthy of Batman's attention, like Oswald Cobblepot, aka Penguin? Do you watch it because you love the backdrop that is Gotham City, even though you know it has its flaws? In fact, you accept those flaws and are more than willing to navigate them if it helps get the job done, like Harvey Bullock? Do you watch it because you are very protective of the legacy of the franchise, particularly the young boy who would be Batman one day? In fact, you love the boy so much you're willing to fall on your sword for this show, like Alfred Pennyworth? Do you watch it because you don't have many friends? Because for you, it's been about surviving. Also, you like young Bruce Wayne more than you want to admit, like Selina Kyle, aka Cat. Do you watch it even though you think it's a little misguided, crazy, or even psychotic? And or because you need tips on how to run a criminal empire, since you are woefully incompetent in that area, like Barbara Keene or Tabitha Gallivan? Do you watch it because you think it is capable of change and has adjusted to its different directions smoothly, as you did with your career change to the GCPD, like Lucius Fox? Do you watch it because your limited circle of friends watch it? Let's face it, they are kind of freaks, and it's a more social activity than caring for your other friends, plants, like Ivy, Pamela, Pepper. Do you watch it because you're ready to watch it burn for all the wrong it's done to you and your sister, perceived or real, like Jervis Tetch, aka the Mad Hatter? Do you watch it half-heartedly, mainly because your remaining friends watch it, though you're waiting for them to come to their senses and stop the madness, like Butch Gilzine, aka Spoiler? Now, I'm going to read the last three. They're not going to pick it, but, you know, I got to include these characters somehow. You don't watch it because your brain is kind of addled by a random blood virus, forcing you to kill everyone you think is guilty. So, like everyone. And you'd much rather act as judge, jury, and executioner if given the chance with your lean, mean new axe arm, like Captain Nathaniel Barnes, a.k.a. the Executioner. You've stopped watching for now because the trauma of the show's ups and downs, particularly around the character of Jim Gordon and of Gotham City, have forced your hand. You're leaving Gotham for the time being and plan only to return when the city turns itself around, and or if and when your new show that went to pilot doesn't quite make it, like Leslie Lee Tompkins. Or you've stopped watching or jumped the shark because, spoiler, you died. Again. Like Fish Mooney, although this could also apply to Barbara Keene. We don't know. Who would like to start?
Well, now there's a Lazarus pit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is a Lazarus pit. There has to be a Lazarus pit.
There's always a Lazarus
You can't
pit.
not have a Lazarus pit if Ra's al Ghul is there.
That's true. That's not the point. It's just...
Yeah, it just gives the license to kill and bring back and kill and bring back. I'll start.
Okay, Spencer.
Can I buffet this thing and just cut out like the last three? Because there's a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. There really is. This
That's
show
like
has been...
Well, last time you were Jim Gordon only.
This show has been such a roller coaster.
Then you're Clayface.
Yeah, I'm everything. I'm every Batman villain and everything all thrown in. This one, I love it and I hate it.
I mostly
That's
don't
how I
like
feel
it.
too. I mean,
Okay,
with it,
Spencer's answering right now. You all get a chance.
I would love to
Sorry,
say,
passions are already
that
happening.
I really look forward to it, but now sometimes it's like, oh god, I hope this episode's better than the last, or you get halfway through an episode and you're like, god, this is awful, and then they redeem it in the last 10 minutes. It's so all over the place. So it really is a buffet of all of that.
Okay. That's an unusual answer for Spencer. Sometimes he judges people for doing the same thing. But welcome back, nevertheless.
Thank you.
Spencer's an all or nothing type of guy.
I'll go next.
Okay,
I feel like I'm less passionate about this show.
probably. Who are you?
Harvey Bullock?
No, who
No,
are
who are you?
Good clarification.
You're wearing a name tag.
Check your name tag. Kim. Oh no, sorry, it's backwards.
Nick. That's my name. It's Nick.
Hi, Nick. Last time was your first time with our Gotham panel,
That's true.
so now you understand our pain. And you were Harvey Bullock.
I was going to stay with that.
Okay,
And I
good.
had no recollection of last time.
Well, I'm telling you.
Okay.
He's like, wait, we did this once before?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm Harvey Bullock. I think I'm enjoying this season more than the last two. And I feel like I don't even notice any of the problems, so I'm interested to find out what they are.
Very instigating. Welcome back, Nick. He's still with us.
Not dead.
I'm Kyle,
Hi, Kyle.
and I would say partially Jim Gordon because I hope the show can come back from the darkness.
Well, first of all, last time you were Harvey Bullock.
I'd say, well, I was going to say, kind of like Spencer, it's kind of a mix, and sometimes even one episode in his example, I'm all over the place, like he said. Like, there's moments I absolutely hate, and then things that I think are completely brilliant that I love, and it's just all over the place. Every episode, each one, all the way up until the very end. So
you're Harvey and Jim.
yeah,
Oh, everybody's going multiple except for Nick.
Multiple fits this show right now.
I know. Kyle, do you want to establish dynamics, or do you want to punt that one over?
I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, so hi, I'm Hilary.
Hi, Hilary.
Are you Kyle's wife?
How wife? No,
How
I'm
wife,
just
yes.
his wife. And the moderator's my sister.
That's true.
That's true too.
Kylie. So,
Last time you were Lucius Fox, Lee Tompkins, and Selena Kyle.
yeah. So, and I think when I originally said my characters, I was like the villains, like Penguin and the Riddler, because I just wanted to see the origins of the villains, which was still kind of true, even though it's like not canon at all, but I was willing to oversee that. And then I think over time I keep hoping that it gets better, and so I keep saying I'm Selena Kyle because I am still just trying to survive all this craziness. I do love little Bruce Wayne still. That's one of the parts that I like about it.
Little Wayne.
Little Wayne, and I do still like Penguin and the Riddler.
That's something different, Nick.
Well done, Nick.
And I still like Penguin and the Riddler the best, and actually the actress that plays Selena Kyle, but I'd still say I've moved more towards some of the new character descriptions for this segment, which
are because...
Right, I'm getting there. Give me a second. Jeez.
Oh my. Touchy already.
I say butch because yeah,
Hits me that much.
I do pretty much watch it half-heartedly. I mean, I love Batman so much and all the characters that if I wholly watch it, that I feel like I'm gonna lose my what's a good word for shit?
Oh, yeah.
I guess that one will do.
Okay,
I
so
don't
we'll
edit
just
that one out.
Well, shit, now you tell me.
And I am waiting. I mean, I'm watching it because, you know, we're supposed to watch it.
If you want to stay on the panel,
Yes.
that is part of it.
I mean, I do enjoy having the panel discussions, but I'm questioning even my own judgment for still having to watch it.
She had the same reaction as to this season as she did Luke Cage, where it's like, okay, one episode, I was like, okay, honey, let's watch the next one. She's like, I can't.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get a glass of wine. See how they destroy one of my favorite DC characters today. Also, no, just kidding. Sort of, not really. And also, kind of a little bit of Jervis Tetch, like, because I feel like it's just done so much wrong to me. It's just getting worse. It's not getting better. Like, before I was hopeful it would get better. Who was that? Lee Tompkins or the other one? I'm getting confused. There's so many.
Hey, you could be a writer for the show.
Good point.
Well, this time Lee has stopped watching because she's leaving.
Okay, but I meant from the last time, because I think she was still hoping it would get better. Maybe that's Lucius.
She's going home to raise Ben McKenzie's baby.
Lucius's description didn't change because he's adjusting
in all
smoothly
fairness.
to his GCPD.
Plus, she's
job.
pretty attractive herself. I'd put her on my girl list.
You said that the last time.
She's
she
on the
must
girl
mean
list.
it.
I do mean it. I like
Noted.
Morena. I like Morena. But anyways, I'm all over the board too, clearly. So
what did we land on?
just I guess
The moon.
I'm jumping on the boys bandwagon over here. I don't know.
So
except for Nick. Nick hasn't. He said his thing.
He said his one thing.
He said his less passionate answer, but yes.
So
You
confused
even
at this
said
point.
I'm not even as passionate as everybody else.
I'm not.
Well, then there you go. All right, that's my answer.
I
just
don't
happened?
even know what the answer was.
Neither do I.
See, look, I was just kind of
There was
manic
things
when-
said.
That
There
was
was
just
lots
like-
of things.
Stream of consciousness.
That was like she wasn't allowed to speak all day and it all just came out at once.
Did you have wine before you came?
No, I probably should have.
I don't know.
No.
So, Spencer said he's all of them but the last three. And Kyle kind of said the same thing.
No, he said he was just...
Oh, yeah,
Like,
you said
just
Harvey
two.
and
Yeah.
Jim. That's right, he did choose.
But then he did still say it depends on the episode. So I guess still for the most
But I'm not
part,
any of the ones who are going to, like, stop watching it or anything. Like,
I
it
mean,
has
I'm
enough
still
that I
gonna
like
watch
about it
it.
to where...
Oh, those
I'm
are
still
only
gonna-
fleeting thoughts, but they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still gonna watch it. Like I said, because more or less I'm supposed to watch it. But I still feel like it's going too far down a bad path for me.
We'll call you Butch and Jervis.
So you should have said the rabbit hole, so you could have had a reference to Alice in Wonderland.
Which would have fit beautifully with Jervis Tetch and Alice.
Failed.
Sorry.
You missed the opportunity.
This is going to get spicy.
Go.
Welcome
What else is
back,
new?
Hillary. I guess.
We didn't write the show.
No, you're getting a little hostile.
Attacking me and my choices.
We just trying to understand.
That's why.
That's because Elbows isn't here.
You're sideswiping her and she's not here.
I know, but she'll listen.
Poor little sis.
Listen.
I'm Kylie. As I mentioned in the introduction, we're already off the rails. We haven't even started talking about the show. Last time I was Harvey Bullock, the Penguin, and the Riddler, and a dash of Bruce Wayne. I remain in that spectrum.
What percentage of each?
No. Well, and it's more than a dash of Bruce Wayne now. It's probably
Like an eighth.
20%
Quart.
Bruce Wayne, 50% Harvey Bullock, and the remainder...
30%?
What's left? 30?
30.
Okay, so we'll say 20 for the Riddler and 10 for the Penguin. Just because I like the Riddler better. I agree. I'm more... Well, I don't agree. I'm not where Hilary is. She's clearly on the downtrodden end of the spectrum. I do have more passion than Nick. I think I'm kind of more towards Spencer and Kyle in this varied number of opinions that have been shared. Whoever said, I love it and I hate it, I related to that phrase. I think it was Spencer. There are moments in this half season, and really in the third season generally, where I've kind of had those, we've mentioned Batman feels, and I felt them very strongly and excitedly, and then there are other times when I'm ready to pull my hair out because I'm like, what the hell are you doing? But then I remind myself what I'm watching, and I sort of calm down a little bit. Relatively speaking, Relatively speaking, I do think that this half season was better than the last 2 half seasons. I do think it's improved into this half season. How much will they stick with it? I don't know. Season 4 has a big question mark.
Ooh.
See what I did there?
Hello!
So we'll see what happens. I'm still in it to watch it. I do watch it very engagedly. It's only after, when I'm processing it, that I start to have ulcers. So we'll see how this discussion goes. I don't know.
Wow.
I know. So let's talk about it. Now, we were talking offline about how this season was structured very strangely in compared to Gotham, but also compared to most network
strangely?
shows. Now you're just trying too hard, Kyle.
Yeah, I got to agree with her there. That was fairly weak.
Oh my.
You're like George Takei.
Hey, if I was too inspired to be someone,
That's true.
it's
He's
not a
pretty
bad
awesome.
choice. So we had 3 episodes coming back from the holiday hiatus, I guess we'll call it, which were the end of the Mad City arc, but they were specifically focused on the return of, as I like to call him, Joker, not Joker, Jerome
Proto-Joker.
Valeska, Proto-Joker, we can call him that. And then it took another 2-month hiatus, came back, and then was constant through the end of the season. Of course, the very first episode out of the gate for that return was how the Riddler got his name. So that's kind of where we go. We'll start with the general discussion. There's lots of passion. Whoever wants to go first. And
Okay, so let me be clear.
Hilary's ready.
I still love Robin Lord Taylor,
Uh-huh.
Corey Michael Smith, and Cameron Beacon-Dova, right? And I forget his name that does play young Bruce Wayne.
David Moretz.
David
Yes.
Mazouz.
Mazouz, yeah.
Something.
Yes. I think that they are still the strongest parts of the show. I've said that since day one.
I would add Alfred to that.
Oh, yeah. He's also a good
Sean
actor.
Pertwee.
Yeah. But I just am more focused. I mean, it's like I love Alfred and everything, but I was really, when I started watching the show, I was more focused to see, even though I knew it wasn't going to be canon and I was accepting of that, I was just excited to see these fresh actors play these characters. And they are still doing a wonderful job. It is those moments, like you said, you get very excited about all the Riddler moments, that keeps me engaged when all the other craziness is happening around it. So I do want to say that. But we can start on the Joker, not Joker episodes if you want, if that's where you're going.
Well, that's what she asked. So, yeah.
Oh my.
Those first 3 episodes I thought were, like, amazing. Like, probably my favorite out of all of Gotham.
Well, they were based on something that's canon.
Exactly.
Which
I was
really
like-
helped it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
And it was
the
well
whole
acted.
Bruce and Jerome fight, like, that is a Batman. That is a very specific sequence from a very famous comic book, almost like line for line. Just,
Him
it's
losing
just
his
he's not,
face, all
yeah,
that stuff. It's
like
all very-
everything, and it was amazing. I mean, I really think he is like the best Joker I've seen, even though he's not the Joker yet. But I'm happy with him, and I hope that he keeps coming back.
It seems like they're now, because of that performance that he gave the very first time, where people said, oh, is this the Joker? It's the Gotham Writers Reaction panel
Yeah.
that seems to go, hey, we might have a Joker here.
Yeah, the
and
reaction.
it seems like they're probably going to make that, if his schedule is open to it.
Well, and quite honestly, I agree. I think those 3 episodes were amazing, and the fight in the House of Mirrors was, yes, that was one of the moments where I got very, very excited. Like, oh my gosh, I'm watching a Batman show.
It really was.
Oh yeah,
The highlight of the entire
Yes.
series so far to me.
Yeah.
One of 2 for me that both happened in this half season. I'll get to that in a moment. But I would be okay if he still serves as the proto-Joker. I think what they set up, which is very nice, is the acolytes of Jerome. So somebody, maybe the real Joker will be inspired by this guy in case he doesn't work out. And I would be totally okay with that.
I don't know
Well,
if
here's
a lot
my
of
thing.
other people would
I
be
actually,
at this point, though.
I actually like what they did with it, because before I was made like, okay, you can't have Joker without Batman, but now Jerome has this personal connection with Bruce Wayne where they play off each other. You know, Bruce is already his straight man already. They already set up very clearly that that relationship, and it works really well. So now I'm fine with him being the full-blown Joker.
I'm okay either way.
But it will be very difficult for anybody else to take up that mantle within this show post that.
That's what I'm saying. I
performance.
think there's more people now that wouldn't want it to
At that
be
point,
somebody
it would become a letdown.
Yeah.
Because he was so good at it.
And wonderful, and I like that idea. My biggest trepidation right now, they're on a very good trajectory, they're going a very good direction, they set up the moments, like we've got Bruce's declaration, for example, that he's not going to kill. That all came out of that fight, and that's a very important moment. I'm just very, very nervous. If they do transition Cameron Monaghan to being the actual Joker, I'm nervous how they're going to handle that. Because at this point, what we've repeatedly said, and it's true, that it's the one piece of the canon that they really can't shy away from, is that Batman creates the Joker, creates Batman, creates the Joker. They have this circular influence on each other.
They need each other.
They
The
need
yin
each
and
other.
yang, that's the whole point.
And, all of the Batmans, even the stupid 1966 one, R.I.P. Adam West, we love you. They all kind of...
Yeah,
I know.
that really just brought me
Sad
down.
face.
I'm sorry. But they all toy with that principle, and I just hope...
I felt like those 3 episodes did that, though.
They did. I just don't... I'm having trust issues.
Well, and that's where
He's afraid that
straying...
they've already created a good thing and they're going to do what they do and
But
change
that's
it.
where
That's right.
straying away from the canon completely, the idea of the show was it was an alternative look at the creation of Batman, the creation of the characters. But then bringing it back to canon for those 3 episodes, it's going to be very difficult no matter which way they go with it.
It's true. That's why I'm saying I'm
They need
okay
to
with
pick.
either scenario. Maybe other people want Cameron. I'm okay if Cameron does it. I'm just saying that they've kind of given themselves room to go either way.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy with, because before they boxed themselves into a corner.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And if they did some canon piece right there really well, and while there's been little touches of things, why couldn't they do a little more beyond that?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because they've had the opportunity. It's been there time and time again, and that's why I keep getting frustrated. Like you pointed out in like a digital conversation about the bats and the introduction of the bats.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Oh, let's.
Because I'm at a hate moment with that piece.
Me too.
Because it was really, okay, so spoiler, this is the end of the season. It was really fun, in a way, to see Bruce standing on a rooftop, coat billowing. He just climbed it. He takes off his mask. I'm assuming he was inspired by the League of Shadows, they're called.
Yeah,
which
he
I
was
think is the real name.
vigilanteing.
Yeah, and he's standing over Gotham City, blank look, moon rising, breeze billowing his coat, and you get the Batman feel, except you're sitting there like...
Going, there's been no bloody bats!
There's no bloody bats! And they had plenty of opportunity this season to do it. He was brainwashed. He was in a cavernous...
The perfect moment, honestly, would have been while he was under the control of Raish.
Yes.
For one of those dream
Okay.
sequences to include bats.
Yes.
That would have worked beautifully. They
Yes.
really missed the opportunity there, and they've spent so much damn time showing the parent's death and how that psychologically affected him and him being able to release that. He doesn't release that. That's what makes him Batman.
Yeah.
That was something that bothered me that whole
So
episode.
that bothered me greatly that they didn't take that opportunity to show us bats. And then they did this thing with him locking the emotions of his parents' death away in a safe inside his
which
psyche.
he wouldn't do that.
No,
Yeah, I was saying the
that
whole point
takes
of
away
Batman
his
is he
power.
can't do that.
Yeah,
Like,
but
he
at least
can't let it go.
He broke through that, though.
Yeah, I guess my interpretation of that is that he did not follow in the person's footsteps. So I feel like that's still there, and he can open that up. And
Because-
that he
well,
will.
when
He's
he's-
going to use that.
When he stabbed because when he stabbed Alfred, he very clearly breaks it, and Ra's al Ghul says, "You've broken through your conditioning," and he says, "I'm never going to be your successor," and Ra's says, "Oh, contrary, that's what the prophecy basically says." So he thinks that Bruce will be a successor, which also I kind of buy this story. Although, how do we feel about Alexander, Dr. Bashir?
He
That's
was.
Rachel
I've
Gould.
seen him as a lot of things. He's another English actor that has been in a lot of stuff. I've seen him for years. He's a good actor. I felt he was okay as it. It was a little distracting because he was so recognisable.
Yes.
But that's acting. You're going to end up in a role that people remember you from other things, and you have to make the new role your own.
He hasn't done that.
He hasn't done that yet, but has he really had the opportunity to do so?
I don't think so.
No, but I also feel like the setup for Ra's al Ghul is really weak.
No, because they're just throwing Batman characters at the wall and seeing what sticks.
I know.
I mean, that's kind of
It does seem like they're a reactionary writing team.
Yeah.
They throw something
yes,
out there.
I
love
that. I like that you
Everyone
say
loved that. Let's do a storyline
because
like that.
it's true, but then they're still, even after they're doing their reaction, they're still like kind of floundering, like, how are we going to do this? And it's very all over the place, which we talked about before.
We basically jumped to the end, but there are
We can jump around.
a ridiculous amount of what's going to happen to these characters, and so many, it's open. They don't have to do anything with them. Like, if people are sick of the Riddler, they could keep him frozen.
Okay, if anybody's sick of the
No.
Riddler, you turn off this podcast right now and go yourself.
But
He is my favorite!
I'm just saying, there's a lot of
very
characters
good.
that we don't have to see next season.
Fish Mooney.
And that they can bring back 2 seasons
Barbara
later
Keane.
if people are saying we're
problem
missing
is,
them.
The problem is they're not doing that. They're still trying to just keep their cast and then cram more people
They're
into it.
just trying to cram throwing it at the wall.
But do we know who the cast is next season? Like, have those deals
No.
been made?
My general feeling
I
about
know
this
Robin
show...
Lord Taylor is, because he said so at Comic Con.
Right.
I'm sure the basic first six
the
are gonna be
originals,
there.
yeah.
My feeling with this show is that when they came up with the concept and they filmed the pilot, they didn't have story beyond that. Generally, when you take a pilot to a network, you have fleshed out 6 or 7 episodes in case they say, yes, we like it. Mm-hmm. With Gotham, I don't feel like that was there. And it's shown. It's starting to get its legs. There are aspects of it that are truly fantastic, but it's still so disjointed.
It is very disjointed. And I want to go back to Ra's al Ghul for a minute because, yes, true, he only really had the 1 episode introduction, but his introduction was very underwhelming, and he's the demon's head. Like, he should be
He was actually
scarier.
better carried off in Arrow than he was in
He
this.
was.
Well, it's like I almost had the feeling that like they were going to go with that mentor that was brainwashing Bruce for till the end as like the end villain, and then they realized like, oh wait, we have to have. And I feel like they were setting up the League for Ra's to come in next season, and I just feel like they just ran like, oh, we better throw him in this season.
Maybe what they didn't do well was that it was more of a teaser of what's to come.
Storytelling-wise, it kind of works because you end up with they are enemies, but there's great respect for each other.
Well, and in another chapter of Batman Entertainments, he actually helped train him. So I wasn't bothered by the introduction, and I don't mind that they're bringing Ra's al Ghul into the story. What I'm saying is this would have been a perfect... Like, we were talking about the introduction of the bats. And there's so much that comes with Ra's. He's got this mystical element that he could bring in, where here again the bats could have come in, and none of that happened.
And all of the bat stuff in Batman lore happens before all of this.
I was say it
It
should have
happens
happened
when his
before
parents
parents
are
were
still
alive.
alive.
A lot
Yeah,
of
he
these
should already have a
yeah.
deep-seated fear.
A lot of these characters happen because of Bat. Again, I know it's a departure from canon on purpose, but I still have a hard time wrapping my head around it, more so than I did in the beginning, because they flailed in so many directions. I have a hard time reeling myself back. Like, you're saying, like, I get really excited about those few good moments that happen, but then after I watch it and I've thought about it, I'm like, what in the hell? So that's kind of, I'm already in the what in the hell when I'm watching it.
Yeah.
And then I can't come back for some reason.
Him not having that incident with the bats before his parents die is a huge misstep. Because even if you're not going canon, that's still the fear that spawns the Batman.
Yeah. Which is why I'm trying to talk through the moments that it could have happened.
Yeah.
Because they have to get back to that. I don't know how they're going to.
Yeah, because at this point it's just like, oh, I need a costume, I need something to be scary. What could it be? Where are they going to go? Without it actually coming out of his psyche, it'd be like he's flipping through an encyclopedia. Ooh!
And I swear, if
I could
that
be the
happens-
aardvark!
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that big nose thing will get in the way. I'll be a bat.
I just feel like they're falling in the same trap like Smallville's writers. They're like, okay, we said from the beginning we're going to shy away from
No
the
flights,
full
no
Superman.
tights.
And I feel like that's what they're doing. Like, oh, we said in the beginning where we were going to shy away from Batman, so
That's true.
they're going too far in that direction to where it makes no sense that he would ever be
But I
Batman.
still think that Smallville was better written than Gotham is.
Well, I
Yeah,
agree with
Smallville
that,
at least had a concurrent theme that ran
Yes.
through.
Yeah.
It had its missteps as well, but this started with missteps.
Yeah, and Smallville, each season you can tell they had it plotted out. The main villain, each
it's
beat
not
of
just
each
up
season.
and down.
Yeah, this is all over the place.
So
It's almost like they have a hat on the table at the beginning of the writers' meeting every week, and someone walks in, pulls out the villain. Oh, okay, now we have to write a story this way.
last time you talked about monkeys.
Yeah, well, there you go. Maybe it's a monkey that pulls the name out of a hat.
I will say, in the list of positives, I really hope they keep pairing Lucius Fox with the Riddler.
Foxy.
Yes.
Yeah, that is fun.
That is the
Talk
best
about
use
the
of
Riddler.
Lucius Fox ever.
I want to talk about the Riddler because I love him.
Yeah, a lot of people love him.
I mean, that was great. That was one of the love moments.
I actually just wish that I could see him as the Riddler, but in a better Batman production.
Like a full-on interpretation of Batman.
Yes, like I would. Yes.
He's so great. And I do
Yes.
think they've done right by that character. I mean, yes, he started off very, brutally
In some
homicidal,
ways.
but now he's
They
kind
brought
of...
him back.
They brought him back.
Yeah.
Now he's at the point where, nope, my intellect is first. Collateral damage.
Oh my gosh,
is
I
just
love
part of
that
it.
joke. Oh my gosh, I love that joke when Penguin has Riddler in the car, and then they're talking about egos or something, and he's like, "Okay, the Riddler," and it's like that was one of my favorite moments of the whole season. I was like, "Yes, Kyle, something was good."
The banter between Penguin and Riddler is fantastic. They have great
And
on-screen chemistry.
I think they play off each other because you basically said they are that close in real life. They are friends now. So I
They've
think,
spent a lot of time together.
yeah. So I think it translates
What
into
did
the
you
characters.
guys think? Nick, you're abnormally quiet.
It's real hard to say anything.
You might have some comic book geeks here.
Especially
I've
that-
noticed about the Riddler.
We turned it
Yeah,
into-
Yeah.
or any of the things we've discussed so far.
Well, in the first 3 episodes, we skipped a lot.
We can go back.
We can go back.
I know,
There are
but
no
you wanted
rules.
to talk about the Riddler.
Well, we can talk about him again. I'm fine with that.
She's got
I
hearts.
think she's got crushes
Hearts,
on him.
hearts, I do.
I love getting
see.
Paul
I
Rubens
was gonna
back.
say I know her typical crushing thing. She's like seriously doing the goods.
I've gone to obsessed with him. I like
Okay.
him.
We got to see Paul Rubens again, and that was exciting for me.
I enjoyed
Really?
that. I enjoyed that. It was a nice little backstory feel to it. It wasn't over the top. It didn't seem as forced as some of the other things
Well,
they're
and
doing.
the
And he's
Clayface
good.
stuff worked better
Yeah.
than
The
when
stuff
they
worked.
tried it in the Hugo Strange storyline when it just kind of didn't make sense.
And I loved the little side reference that Nigma does make to somebody in the GCPD that better than an actor or something like that. So they kind of brought that back around and made a meta joke.
Yeah,
They do that sometimes, and I will say that's one of the few things that
yeah. There's
they
one
do well.
writer in the room that actually knows canon. And
Yes.
he keeps going, "Hey, how about this idea?" And every now and then one makes it through.
Well, I mean, and sometimes they make fun of their own story plot lines. Like Kyle's pointed out a couple of them. I can't think of it right off.
Usually
the
it's
top of
stuff
my head.
that Bullock says.
Yeah.
And he has been a godsend to this
Oh, yeah.
series.
Yeah,
He
He's a
is
staple.
absolutely fantastic. He, in a lot of ways, is like Jim Gordon should be.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jim Gordon's sitting where Canon Harvey Bullock is, and they've got to switch at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like they're taking too long to get Gordon where he needs to be.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we
he's-
talked about
and
how
they're
dark
taking
he
him-
got.
Well,
Yeah.
he just
But
feels
it's-
like he stays the same. Everyone else had, Bullock has had character growth, Bruce, even, all the
All of
villains.
them,
And
the
then
villains.
Jim is just, he's like a shark. He's the same. He's just always Jim.
Although
And he's always dark.
Yes, but to be fair, this half season, now it wasn't a big leap, but I feel like he's on the direction where he's supposed to go because all of the darkness this time was brought on about by the Tetch virus. Now we can talk about that if you want.
How it was a lot like Arrow in the Murakuru business.
It was
Really?
very
It was,
close
it was
to that.
Batman Begins.
And Batman
It was
Begins
the end
as
of
well,
Batman
yeah.
Begins. Ra's al Ghul has a smoke bomb that's going to have everybody tear Gotham apart.
I will say that this show draws heavily from the movies because there's been Batman Returns moments in a big way. Hello, Selena Kyle falling out of the
I
building.
don't understand.
Which they need to stop trying to make her supernatural. She's not supernatural. Stop it. That was Tim Burton's thing. She's not super. Continue on.
Okay. So that, plus Paul Rubens, plus Oswald is
Oh,
mayor,
and
plus...
did you hear Riddler's ringtone? It was
No.
a transition movie,
It-
or transition.
Doodle-loo from the original
Oh,
Batman.
was it? I didn't
Doodle-loo.
miss it.
And Kyle turns to me and goes, "Did you catch it?" I was like, "Yep." Doodle-loo.
you.
They do lots of cute little things.
So, but also Batman Begins, I think, has been heavily influencing this half season in a major way. And that's probably why they drew Raish back in.
But a lot of the Raish stuff that happened in that wasn't done by Raish
No.
in this. It was done by some guy that ends up...
The Court of Owls,
Yeah.
basically.
They changed it.
No.
I wish that we could get away from the Jim Gordon that we currently have and make him more like the Harvey character, who's much more like the real Jim
Because I
Gordon.
really like
should
Ben
be.
McKenzie. I do like him.
Yeah, Ben McKenzie's fine.
Doesn't
It's
it make
just
sense?
writing is not good.
I know that, they want to wait and hold off or completely never get to Bruce Wayne becoming Batman because it's
But
crap 2 minutes
it's
before
not
it.
what they've said, but that's what they seem to be doing.
It seems like they're taking a giant leap with Bruce Wayne. I don't know why they're taking the
Yeah, all of a
time
sudden he's
with Jim
standing on a
Gordon.
building with
Yeah.
the moon in the background and a coat billowing.
He's
but
like,
we don't want him
he's
to be
good.
Batman.
He's good to go, but a Commissioner Jim Gordon is out of the question.
Yeah, that's... I'm
Well,
having that problem.
they've wrecked that part of the storyline entirely with the whole Barbara Keene thing anyway. There
Yeah.
is no way now that Jim and Barbara can end up together.
And Barbara Gordon can then become...
I don't know.
Batgirl's
She
mom.
just got electrocuted. What's going to happen to Barbara Keene? Maybe her good
Lazarus
side will
pit.
come back in. She might not have died. It was just electrocution.
What's the...
I mean,
Well,
you
people
just...
keep hinting or
Alfred
wanting her
got
to be
run through
Harley
with a
Quinn
sword.
for some reason.
And what the hell? All you Harley
Or is that
Quinn
supposed
fans,
to be Lee?
me
I don't understand.
No,
I'm really confused.
Harley Quinn's supposed to be Harleen Quinzel. at
Yeah, but it
Arkham
looked
Asylum.
like... Did you catch the scene? They had the colouring of the lights on her, and the colours that were falling on her were Harley Quinn's suit.
They actually filmed a cameo for the last episode for Harley Quinn, but they cut it out. They said it didn't fit with the episode.
Don't be surprised if Barbara Keene becomes Harley Quinn.
Oh, no.
That will really make me sick to my stomach.
Oh, no. No,
But where else can they take that character at this point? Because
They
they've
could
wrecked
kill her
her.
and leave
Yeah.
her dead.
Like I
Send her
thought
with
was going
Fish.
to happen with Fish Mooney, and then when I literally saw her, I was like, no, Kyle,
But the funny thing is, Fish didn't bother me in this season.
No, she didn't.
She didn't bother me.
She-
either.
She didn't bother me at all in
always
this
bothers
season.
me.
It's like, well,
Far
what-
more annoying.
Okay, but Jada Pinkett Smith always bothers me.
I agree, but I do think that Barbara Keene was far more
That's
annoying.
right. Throw
Barbara,
down.
I feel like they were even building towards killing her off, like that we would want her to die.
Successfully. I've felt that way since season 1, though.
They had too many There were too many moments of Butch and Tabby. Like, now should we do it now? No, we have to wait.
Yeah, they're the
they did
dumbest
that like 9
criminals ever.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
the
after the
reasons
third-
for
the
Tabby
second
not
time.
wanting to kill her were very weak.
Yeah, I agreed.
But if Barbara says puddin', don't be surprised.
Oh my god.
No, don't. I swear.
She will hunt you down, writers.
That's making me speechless. I can't handle it. Let's talk
You're
about
welcome,
something
Kylie.
else,
You're
please.
Oh. This is a very
I can't wait till
spicy
Sherlock
podcast.
when your wife's back on. I'm telling you right now.
Why's that?
Because that was quite a delight the last time.
I can give as good as I get you.
I've seen it. They go back and forth.
We're a sparring kind of bunch anyway.
Yeah.
Apparently, one of the reasons it's so exciting.
How did people feel about Butch being Solomon Grundy?
I had to look that up. They definitely.
After we talked about it, you were like,
It's
what?
Solomon
No,
Grundy.
no.
Solomon.
Then
No,
that
no.
name is... That name
When
becomes
they said,
Solomon
"Oh,
Grundy.
his name is what?" I googled it. I'm like, "Oh,
Oh.
okay. I don't know what that means still, but."
I mean, the Batman
He's a
character-
big Batman villain.
Yeah.
He's a
huge.
big...
He's a big
He's
all
unkillable.
of DC villain. I mean,
Yeah.
he's like fights everyone,
He
even Superman.
crosses, yeah.
He is unkillable, and that's kind of what they've done with Butch all the way through. I just didn't see it until that
Yeah.
moment where they showed the name on the file, and I about jumped out of the
Well,
seat.
and in
I
that
don't
whole
think they were
episode, he's
doing it on
wearing
purpose,
Grundy's
though.
that he's normally drawn in striped suit.
Yeah.
Which once I saw that, I rewatched the episode. I was like, okay, he's kind of dressed like Grundy, just not all rotted and gross.
Yeah, I kind of don't mind it because whether they did it on accident or on purpose, I feel like it was an organic.
It felt organic, because all the
Yeah.
way through he keeps getting hurt or killed or whatever.
He has an amazing survival rate, and this explains it.
Yes, exactly.
So
He got shot
whether
in
they
the
meant it or
head
not,
and was still alive.
Well, and like even though I don't like the Barbara and the Tabby storyline, I actually enjoy
they're
that
so
actor that's
annoying.
Butch. Like he's the best part of that. So I'm glad that they'll have him back in a capacity.
I'm like, they have like a Three's Company thing going that I'm just kind of over. So
However,
I think
in
they're
saying
right.
that, if he does the full transition to Solomon Grundy, he really loses
Yeah,
a
he's
lot
gonna
of the
lose his
character.
character.
I mean, his character is what made him so good, but Solomon Grundy doesn't really. I mean, he's a big zombie basically.
yeah.
Well,
He's not intelligent at all,
be
or
a
intelligent.
slow
at all.
transition into zombie.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if they're going to bring him back and he's going to slowly transform
Bits
over the
will
course of a
start falling
season.
off.
That could be fun, though.
It could be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting for Solomon Grundy to come back on Arrow since he was in one episode. Does
He
anyone
was?
even remember that?
No.
It was the Mirakuro. Cyrus
I
was.
didn't know who.
He was Deathstroke's right-hand man, and then at the end of an
yeah.
episode, Arrow shoots a bunch of the Miracuros and it's pouring all over his dead body. And that's how the episode ended. And then they kept saying, "Oh, we're going to bring him back as Grundy," and then they never did. The guy that they set up in season 2 that you think that it was like that running for mayor that was working for Deathstroke. When he's talking to him, he calls him Cyrus. And
That's
Oh,
so
that's
long
right.
ago, Kyle.
Yeah, well, get back to Gotham.
So let's leave Star City. Go back to Gotham.
but anyway,
Pull
I
up
would
the
just be.
coastline.
I like Solomon Grundy, and I'd like to see a live action.
I do.
version
It
of
would be fun, and the actor, he's got the right body proportion and everything for it to
Yeah.
somewhat work. I mean, he needs to be bigger, but he's at least has the base of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I like Solomon Grundy as much as the two of you do, but I think that this would be fun.
At least it's a character from canon that can
Yeah.
do something.
True,
There's something
true.
about it that works.
And I hope if they do keep Rachel Gould as a thread character for the next season, that they develop him better and do it in a way that suspends disbelief. Because it's really hard for me to watch Dr. Bashir, a.k.a. the Prince of the House of Martell from Musical Chair Show, to, like, be this guy who's been other people. Famous too. You know, other famous people didn't make me have this reaction. So, that's all I want to say.
What did you think about the introduction of the Lazarus Pit?
I didn't mind it. I knew that's what it was the minute they opened up the door. And there was bubbles.
I agree, and it worked in the context of the episode so that there could be the stabbing of Alfred and the resurrection of Alfred and yada yada yada. But my fear is it will go down the path that Arrow did for a while, where, oh, we killed someone off, we want them back, let's splash them with the...
That's what I was getting at with my, commentary.
Well, the good news is...
And it's true.
The good news is, I mean, Alfred wasn't actually dead.
No.
And
And it didn't fully heal him. It
It
seems like they
didn't fully heal
underpowered
him.
their Lazarus Pit in this
Well,
one.
Yeah.
he just had a small amount poured onto the cup.
Yeah.
So,
In homage to Last Crusade.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah! Aw. I didn't even make that connection because I was not thinking indie. So, well, that's nice. Yeah, I
The
didn't
other was
mind
the
that.
dog.
I hope in the next season they just drop Poison Ivy altogether. That
Oh
gr-
my
or
gosh.
recast it a third time.
Poison
Try
Ivy
again.
is one of the hate spots. For
She's
me.
annoying.
She's
And
annoying.
I-
She should be smart.
I know.
She should be
Yes.
super intelligent. She just is acting like a cliche.
Bimbo.
She's
Yes.
still a kid.
No.
But
And that's
psychologically, she's
that's
still a
already
kid
the
who's
biggest
suddenly
problem
very
of
sexy,
it.
and that's all she can think about doing.
She still should be smart.
I agree with you, but nothing they did to young Pam was enough to make her suddenly smart.
Yeah. They
There's
went
going
too
to need to
far.
be another
Okay.
development there.
Okay, because they couldn't have made the leap anyway, because they're already making all sorts of other crazy leaps, and the only thing that she did was heal Penguin back from...
And Catwoman.
And Catwoman.
Oh yeah, that's true. She did help.
Selena with plants. Plants!
Yes, after 1,000 cats licked her.
Yeah.
I know. It was very weird because in Batman Returns, the cat slicking her brought her back to life. So,
She's not...
I
I
know.
didn't
really
get the
bothers
point of
me.
hitting
I'm a
that
huge
moment.
Catwoman fan.
I don't
That bothers
understand
me.
what the point for that character was to hit that moment.
I
from
just think they
Batman
wanted that
Returns.
homage.
They just wanted...
yeah.
that's what
Because
keeps
she
happening.
and
But-
I don't know. She ends up with the whip, and Tabby's going to train her at the end of the season.
I mean, I like that she got the
Tabitha is
whip.
actually Tigress. She's a very minor Batman villain.
She's an assassin in the DC universe. That's
Yeah.
like C tier villain.
I love that she got the whip. It still felt exciting to me, like Riddler in the green suit.
it felt weird that she was just really good with it for only using it once.
She's Selena. She's good at a lot
Kyle,
of
do
things.
you feel that potentially the other Bruce Wayne is going to be Bizarro?
I have a feeling something like that.
That would really bother me.
Yeah.
Because in the comics,
Oh,
there is
yeah,
a
I
Bat
know.
Zorro.
I
There is a
thought
Bat
the other-
Zorro. And, yeah.
I thought Bruce Clone 9000, as I called him in the Talking Points, died or was dying.
He was dying.
He just
but
disappeared by the end, yeah.
Bizarro degraded too. When Bizarro was first created, he was a proper full-on clone of Clark Kent.
And they don't feel pain. The Bizarro versions of them don't feel pain.
So
and they kept saying that, like when his side was cut, that he couldn't even feel it.
So
yeah, it really feels like they're going Bizarro, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's a Superman thing. Please don't do it here.
Well, they've done a couple of things like that, though, so...
Well,
but I wasn't even thinking of that. I wasn't thinking of Bizarro.
Especially like the way he starts to talk and...
Yeah, he's degrading. His genetics is breaking down, which is something that was happening to all of those Doctor Strange patients. God, we could have a whole fleet of Bizarros.
Please don't give them ideas, Spencer. They're having a hard time with the ones they
You
get.
know that there's somebody that writes the show sitting listening to this podcast with a pen, Holly. God, why don't we come up with this stuff?
They've already done the freak posse a couple times. Like, Fish has had a couple different freak posses.
Well, to be fair, the freaks were all still the same freaks.
Yeah.
In that situation, there was still other stuff happening. I just threw that out there right away to begin with. But it would still be repeating the same story that they've already...
Here's my advice: just stick to the Batman. Don't go Superman. Don't go Wonder Woman, Flash. There are other things happening with those properties.
It feels like at this point they could take a turn and go to canon and do it as a Batman backstory. A proper Batman backstory. They really could. They've built to a point where they could turn in that direction.
But will they?
No.
I don't think so.
I mean, some of my favorite moments too were like when Bruce was going to find Catwoman. And then he lets the bullies, like, hit on him a couple times. And then as soon as she leaves, then he gets up and just decimates them. Like, those moments worked. So it's like, if they actually did that next season and had more of a season of that, I'd be fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, proper development of Bruce into more of...
And training his mind. Like, they haven't shown him do any of that. Like, he should already be, like...
He's super
chemistry
smart.
and, like, just, like, reading stacks of books at the same time as training.
Have him becoming more of a detective.
Yes. Which is what almost every incarnation of Batman lacks. He's the world's greatest detective aspect.
Nick is quiet again. Are you appreciating this conversation?
Yeah. Said it. It's interesting to hear what I'm not supposed to like about the show.
Well, so why don't we... Oh, I've got a good idea. Why don't we go around the table and talk about the good parts that were, like, really honestly good that you can subscribe to, no matter how much you might hate the rest of it. And then also the parts that you hated. Just couldn't... And if there were any parts in the middle, you could do that too. For me, there's love and hate. There's no middle ground, so...
I can tolerate all of the parts I hated because of the parts that were really good.
Which were?
The really good stuff were mostly character stuff. You know,
character
Penguin,
stuff.
Riddler. Bruce is fantastic. I really think that they've got the potential of building Batman from that. They probably won't because they don't know what they're doing, but Jim Gordon is wrong.
Yeah.
That is what I hate about this show.
All of his plots was the weakest part. Like, Evil Leslie... Like, all of that stuff is when I'd roll my eyes.
Yeah, let's take a moment to talk about this, because this is the part of the season that I super hated.
Why would she not believe that Gordon was trying to defend her? Why would she not believe
More than that. So, I'm so grief-stricken that in order to understand, and apparently because Jervis Tetch has the ability to convince me that it's all my fault... I'm going to try out this whole thing and inject myself.
After she visited Barnes and said, "You're batshit crazy."
Yeah.
I hate
Well, let's be honest, though.
Her
It's
choices.
a female comic book character. They don't always make sense.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I hated almost every single choice Lee had made.
Yes.
This chunk.
Yeah.
From
They're taking her down the same path as Barbara.
Right,
Exactly.
coming back right from the break of her putting a hit on Gordon. I just didn't feel like she should have been
She was
to
smart.
that level.
I was so happy because when they introduced her character, I was like, yay, like finally he has like a female counterpart who's like intelligent and sane.
Gets him.
Yes, and then they totally messed it up.
And it's really sad because Marina Bakarin, I think they completely wasted her ability in this.
Yes, and she's a super fan. So, like...
And it was the whole plot arc with the I'm going to bury him alive and you have to prove your love to me by injecting yourself so that you have the strength to break out of being buried alive was so groan-worthy. It really kind of marred the last couple of episodes, but for those moments between Penguin and Riddler, or where Bruce has his revelations. I mean, there were moments elsewhere, but the entire plot line around the Tetch virus from the beginning of the season has been a gigantic waste of time, in my personal opinion. And they only loosely connected it to the Court of Owls. And the Court of Owls, they had potential there, but I feel like they...
That was another misstep.
Yeah.
Wasted it.
And like his uncle, James Rewer.
Oh yeah, they just ended the Court of Owls like
Yeah.
Abruptly.
nothing.
His uncle, you mean Dexter's dad?
Yeah, Dexter's dad. He was just at Comic-Con too. No one went up to him. It was really sad. Because he's a veteran actor. He's in lots
He's a
of
good
things.
actor.
Yes, he is.
He played the character very
I was
well.
like, why is no one going to talk to him?
But the Court of Owls was a
Eric talked to
complete
him
mis-
about
Oh,
Mortal
he
Kombat
did?
2.
What the? Okay, that's embarrassing.
That's what he said.
The Court of Owls was a complete misstep because they built them up to be this huge, powerful, underlying, ruling Gotham, making all these things happen, and then with snapping fingers, they're dead.
Yeah.
Well, the ruling council is. I mean,
But I thought
do...
the ruler.
They even said
is
that they were
dead now,
puppets,
too.
and the guy that was training Bruce he created the Court of Owls, so without him, it just goes away.
Yeah, the Court of Owls was decimated in about, 3.5 minutes of show?
Well, it's
It was
an
weak to
introduction
begin
that
with.
never should have been made
Yeah.
because they're a later on revelation and it never should have been introduced so early.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Which is a lot of this
I didn't
show.
know anything about the Court of Owls.
Well,
until I
in the
watched
Court of
show.
Owls, part of the thing is, like, Batman doesn't find him until he's already old. So it's like
Yeah.
a huge revelation that he's such on
gone
top
through
of
all of
everything
this.
that he pretty much controls Gotham, and there's something even he doesn't know about.
It's a Batman Beyond revelation.
Huh? Well, older. Like, Robin's already Nightwing, like his own superhero, and so it's just before Batman Beyond.
It hasn't been filmed. This is the first time they filmed.
What?
It's a new
Owls.
Oh,
storyline.
sorry.
Yeah.
Batman Beyond for me is a cartoon where it's old man Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we know
Okay.
what you're talking
So
about.
like this
But it's
storyline is
after that.
no,
it's before that.
that.
It's before-
I
It's
forgot what
It's
the word
before Terry
meant.
McGinnis.
yeah, because that's Batman Beyond is like Batman in his 60s. This storyline is like Batman when he's like 45, 47.
Okay.
There's a whole timeline.
No,
It's-
I don't,
Thank you for asking.
that's why it's
We
that's
should remind the listener that Nick is kind of new to the DC fold, so...
yes. And that's why I'm less passionate because I don't even know what is wrong. So I don't
That's true.
mind
I
it.
think us
And I'm
having a
just
Batman
enjoying
background does
it.
affect some of our
yeah.
enjoyment of the show.
Well, yeah,
Right over here.
It's like
But
you
I
don't
also-
seem to like the show at all.
But
Like that's half the reason I can't stand what they
But
did to
that's what
Mr.
I'm saying.
Freeze.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
bring him
yeah.
back and he's still just a henchman.
I
He's
Yeah.
a, he
well,
doesn't-
that even for me is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this Poison Ivy and this Mr. Freeze are even worse than the George Clooney movie Poison Ivy
I was
and
gonna-
Mr. Freeze.
I can get
I was gonna
behind
say,
that statement.
At least
At least he
for
didn't
himself.
have an Austrian accent.
and make all the ice puns.
Yes.
Oh, he just doesn't say anything at all. Except,
Stay frosty.
Ice to meet ya.
That was really good.
I
It does
don't
seem
know.
like a waste of Mr. Freeze as well.
It's a huge waste. And those
And
two
it's-
are not
again,
my favorites.
he-
Again, when they introduced the character,
both
they showed
super
him being intelligent.
Yeah,
they showed
his
him being
His
intelligent.
two-story episode up until him becoming Mr. Freeze was great. Like, I mean, other than he was like same problem with Riddler, he was a little murder happy before he ever should have been. But they could have brought him back.
Once
to where
Mr.
he-
Freeze
I
got
didn't
his
mind-
suit, he was free to go on a
I
rampage.
honestly did
Not
not
be
mind
honest.
his murder happiness in the early part because a lot of it was driven
By his
purely
wife.
by the I have to do everything I can to save my wife. So that didn't bother me. It was more of a blind pursuit of science, which I think sometimes scientists, even in the real world, do. It's everything's out of the window. This is my goal, and I'm going to do everything I can to
And
get
there
to
have
it.
been some limited depictions of the Freeze character like that.
In my opinion, though, the best Freeze is he's a good man. In many ways, he's better than Bruce or anybody. He just loves his wife more than anything. And then it's when, out of desperation, everything else has fallen away. He has his affliction, and nobody listens to him. Then he goes to murder and crime because he tried every single thing he could.
They didn't
I
do the
agree.
transition between the two parts, but his murderous, it wasn't an anger or anything, it was purely driven by the science of trying to save Nora.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind that, but yes, they didn't tell the story in the middle part where everyone's ignoring him and that stuff, which
And
drives into that.
Yeah, I agree with you, because here again, not my favorite of the villains, but that's the reason why he's even appealing, is there's something good within him that's been perverted.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be so easy for them to do it that way, though. I don't...
Well, that's my point. It's like, you could come back, like, after his transformation, you could still have him be that genius that's kind of flawed, but he's still conflicted about what he's doing. But they don't. He just is full on. He'll go along with
like
anybody
a
that comes
zombie
along
with
and
a
says,
gun.
Yeah, this is why.
Agreed.
I keep getting on the more passionate, negative side of the fence, because it's just, these are simple things that could be, like I said, it doesn't have to be exact, but it's simple things that could be eradicated towards something that's a little better than definitely where they're at right now.
Although I do think, I don't like the Ivy character at all, but I do think that her interchanges with Oswald were funny. They weren't as funny as Oswald and Edward. Edward, he very insistently calls him Edward, not the Riddler, not Ed, Edward.
Yeah, I heard he said he doesn't like the name Riddler.
But he also doesn't call him Ed. It's Edward. Edward.
Yeah, it's like a barb.
Uh-huh. He wants to do it the full formal way.
This show wouldn't have made it to season 4 if it hadn't have been for
Those two.
the Joker, the Riddler, and the Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I'm going to go back to Comic-Con, someone went up to him, and the only thing that they said to Robin Lord Taylor in his panel was, the only thing I want to say, it's not even a question, just a comment, you make this show. And he was like, oh my gosh, like, because to hear that, plus he's a relatively new actor, I mean, it, like, literally took him back, and he was like, no, it's all of us, and Corey's amazing, and everything. Well, they're like, yeah, Corey's amazing, but also he was the one that was, there. But still, just the fact that somebody acknowledged it right to his face,
So,
I don't know.
I have a question for you guys then. Does that mean the writers are doing something right with the character as well, or that
The actors are doing something.
I think in part, yes.
in that instant?
Well, okay, yes, in
I
ways.
think in part they are doing justice
is.
to the Penguin character,
And the
but
Riddler.
And because
so
they're writing those interchanges.
But
and
so much of
arc.
it is just the chemistry that the two actors have together and their interpretation of what has been put down.
And they actually improvise. All the scenes that are between the two of them, a lot of it's improvised. They said that at Comic-Con, too. He's like, because he said they have brilliant writers, but a lot of him and Corey Michael Smith, like, because they're so close that then they play off their personal relationship and add it into the show. And I think
And that's not uncommon in filming.
Corey's actually I've read now, decent fan of the Batman franchise anyway, so he did a lot of Riddler deep dive.
I really feel that he's encapsulated some of that 60s Riddler in his character
He's
as
got a
well.
little bit of all
Well, that's
Not
what I
too
feel.
much.
Got all, yeah.
Not too much to make it campy.
I think it's
But
all
there's
of them,
parts
too.
of it, there's definitely parts of it. And I even
right.
see some of the Jim Carrey in there.
Yeah.
There is.
I
There are
would
moments when I
love to
just
see
feel
him
like
in
him.
a different thing.
There are moments when I think he's going to say, riddle me this, and it doesn't quite get there. Or the stupid thing that Jim Carrey says, a big black bat guy.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid
That's
of the big
it.
bat?
Good job.
But I didn't mind Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
I didn't
I thought he was the highlight of that
I mean,
film.
he was
He
very
was.
Jim Carrey, but it was still very entertaining.
But if you
He's
watch
better
the
than Tommy
60s,
Lee Jones
it's Frank
as Two-Face.
Gorshin's Riddler. Like,
Yeah,
Jim
he really
Carrey
was.
is doing
Yeah.
Well,
the Adam West.
he didn't know there
Riddler.
was any other versions of the Riddler, so he based it completely off of that.
But why would you cast Jim Carrey as the Riddler if you didn't want that? Because it is very Jim Carrey-like as well.
I think
Yeah.
that
Like,
was definitely
if you
part
wanted
of the
him
casting.
to
That's
not
true.
play that way, you would not cast Jim Carrey.
I think that Corey and Robin have
Yes.
done their work and are incorporating bits of all of the interpretations.
Oh, you definitely catch some of the original Penguin with Burgess Meredith's interpretation in what...
And even Danny DeVito's, and his was terrible. But there's huge bits of comic book in there too. Like, there are times when Corey, which the closest thing that I can get to the comic books, because I'm not as schooled on them, are the video game interpretations. So he kind of reminds me of the Riddler in the Arkham series. Like, I expect him to get on the speaker and guide him all over
Well,
Gotham
he
City.
did do some of
A little
that
bit.
before he made the bigger transition.
Yep. There was a tape recorder. That was
So obviously, I mean, as we've been talking here, when we talk about the Riddler and the Penguin, It's very complimentary. It's very happy. I think we need to just see more of them. A lot more of them.
I'd be okay
Or
with
the
that.
parts. I'm even really just happy with Selena and Bruce's back and forthness because it's what it should be.
That's
Them-
getting better for me.
That is too.
them
But
going
that's
through
partly
the-
because those two actors have matured as well.
They have.
Right, but still, like, that's what happens to them. They go through those struggles, and I don't know if I liked her mom as much being a part of the.
She was a plot.
She was
device
just a
to me.
plot. I know. I know she was
Mercifully,
just
Kyle
nice.
predicted correctly, and she was there and gone. So, good job, guy.
Yeah. He does that while we're watching it.
While we're recording now.
No, I'm just saying,
Oh.
like, seriously. Yeah, I just like I like their chemistry on the show, and it is getting stronger as time goes on.
It's some of the best
And
scenes.
I liked when she got her whip. Sorry, I love
No, I like
Catwoman.
that
the
too.
character.
Most of the best scenes throughout this entire show are the interpersonal relationships.
Yes.
The Riddler with Penguin,
Penguin.
the Selena and Bruce, and Jim when he's with Bullock. Those are
Yeah,
good scenes.
Jim when he's
Yeah.
with Bullock.
Jim and Bullock
'Cause I
are
do
good
still love
scenes.
that.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's really the actors that are what's keeping me.
Bruce and
There.
Alfred. I like.
Yeah, Bruce and Alfred are
Alfred.
fantastic. Alfred is really good. He's probably one of the unsung heroes of this
I feel like
show.
he's underutilized this chunk too.
Well, and like
he
he's
did
so
spend
great,
a
but
lot of it on his back.
I'll say they keep having him. I mean, I lost count, but he keeps getting stabbed and put in the hospital. I think
Stabbed,
this is like
shot.
the fourth or fifth
Yeah.
time.
But he said, "I love you" to Bruce, and that was very heartwarming.
Well, and he kept calling him my boy, which I loved when he was trying to
it's
find
not
him.
so stiff upper lip, Alfred.
No, it's definitely they've given him a good backstory by making him an ex-SAS officer, which they're the top special forces in the world, so they've done a good job making him believable as the way they're interpreting.
I
him.
know why they did it though, but I don't like that Bruce stabbed Alfred. But
I don't either, but at least he was brainwashed, and it wasn't a conscious choice because it
Right.
happened after the moment he declared he wasn't going to kill
And it
him.
was the fact that he stabbed Alfred that
Brought it
broke
back
the
out.
programming, and
yeah, I understand all of it and the reasoning for it. I just
it
don't
was a
even like
hard
that it
moment to
happened.
watch.
Well, because he would never do that. But yeah, I understand. I understand why it happened. I just didn't like that choice. That's all.
My least favorite part of this half season was anything swarming around the Tetch virus, anything swarming around Lee blaming Jim for Mario ad nauseum. Like, I
Yeah.
really got upset.
I just don't see where they could come from in what they had in their relationship for her to so adamantly.
Yeah, she was only pregnant by him,
Right.
It's like,
For her to she's come back and she's leaving, but I'm sure she'll come back too.
Yeah, she's supposed to be a recurring character. She's
Yeah.
not going to be in the main cast next season.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it just, to me, and then her she was so adamant about it. Just wouldn't let it go.
Wouldn't let it
Tried
go.
to convince everybody else that he did it. And that he
made
was part of the
stupid
plot.
choices,
and blaming him for the whole everything that goes wrong
Wrong.
in the whole city.
Yeah.
Is his
That's what I'm
fault.
saying. She went to, like, everybody to try to convince them.
But then came back around and said when she was leaving in the letter, "Oh, if there's anybody who could save this city, it's you."
Just inconsistent.
Right, but then when she went to go, like, when she was infected by the virus, went to go, like, tell off Barbara in her infectedness and was basically, like, having her girl revenge plot, from, I don't know.
The two
Same plot
seasons
Barbara
ago.
had
Yes!
against her.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, fortunately, that went nowhere because Barbara was busy otherwise.
Everything with Barbara goes nowhere.
and it's
I
true.
agree.
I don't
Not
really.
be Harley Quinn.
I really don't blame the actress for it. I
Seriously.
fully
Yeah.
blame the writing of that character is just abysmal.
Well, I've seen TV shows that she's been in before, and she's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's everything
I
about
think
that
she's
character.
trying. I really do think she's
Well,
trying.
like, what
but
are
I
you supposed
hate
to
her.
do with that? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, she's playing maniacal really well. It's just lousy writing.
And so one note.
Mm-hmm.
Just so one note. I don't know. I mean, I honestly think I said this in the last podcast. I think the ship of her being with Jim in any way and producing a Barbara Gordon is gone. It's not gonna
if they
happen.
bring them back together, like I think Kyle said earlier, the electrocution, or maybe it was you,
was me.
the electrocution could wipe her like a hard drive, but still, you can't suspend disbelief that far.
Yeah, the
No.
history's there, and
I would like
and
her
we
to
just,
stay dead.
it's just so silly that those three think that they're going to be the ones that run Gotham.
Yeah.
It's like, what in your guys' history would lead you to believe that you could take Penguin's spot or the others?
Well, they already kept saying that whole season, Barbara runs the whole underworld. I was like, how?
Nerd.
Yeah, no, you've got Tweedledum and Tweedledee as her henchmen.
But I don't think I don't think the viewer was supposed to take them seriously at all. I think that was half of it.
I feel you there.
But didn't
actually.
Penguin wipe out the underground and she was just filling a void?
Penguin self-sabotaged because Nigma convinced him that everybody was against him, and then Penguin reacts emotionally, especially when he's apparently in love with the Riddler, and he goes off and he basically tells all the crime bosses they can stick it where the sun don't shine, so then they all turn on him.
And then he kills them all.
And then he kills them all.
Right. So there's none of them left, and then there was that time we thought Penguin was dead. So I feel like Barbara thinks this is her. She was the only one left, but
I
so
think
she's
that's
fighting for it.
She's fighting for it.
So I don't think it's
And
that's the
what-
only thing in the character that I buy that she thinks she can do it.
Yeah.
But
Well, and it also
We
seeded,
know.
Ridiculous.
It also seeded Edward's quest for the Court of Owls.
Well, then going back to just strange things, having Butch and
Hugo Strange Things.
yes,
I
no,
did it for you.
no.
I wasn't going to do it. You
We haven't
guys
actually
got me
spoken
too
about
hard.
Hugo Strange too much, but we'll get back to that. The whole idea of Butch and Tabitha willingly working with Ed, just completely willingly, after what he put them through
Yeah.
and how they react to everything else around them, it was so unnatural.
I do agree with you, Spencer. That right? Weren't you saying that?
With Butch and Tabitha
Working
working
with
with
the
Nigma just didn't
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
it didn't.
Oh, no.
I
didn't
mean, yeah,
like
he
that
literally
at all.
just tortured you.
And
Yeah.
took her hand.
But
Yeah.
Butch makes that point too.
But he does,
doesn't
but
make it
I think
okay.
that was more of a right of reaction to how everyone was
They're
saying,
like, well, we better
this
say
doesn't
this."
make sense.
Yeah.
Tabitha is an extremely vengeful, seriously nasty assassin, and the guy that took her hand is now, well, he's alright.
And, yeah, and just because Barbara said, no, don't right now. Like, that, it didn't make any sense.
Tabitha shouldn't even be there. I mean, if they wanted to bring her back periodically after the death of her brother, the splattering gunshot death of her brother, then
Which is another problem.
I know.
Well, I
Yeah.
just think they knew that they were going to have her be a mentor for Catwoman, but they introduced her way too early.
Yeah.
And so then, like, okay, we just have to have her keep doing stuff until we're ready, until the, Cameron,
I
whatever's
still
ready
think
to be
she
Catwoman.
could come in and out more, because I feel like
Well, that's
she's
what they
still,
should have done.
She's still pretty regular.
She
For
is
that.
a regular. She's in the main cast.
So, yeah.
They should not have promoted her. They should not have promoted Maggie Jiha as Ivy. Those are things that did not work. You wanted to go back to Hugo Strange.
Well, Hugo Strange was an interesting character throughout,
Yeah.
but he was very one note.
Yes.
Yeah.
So far, that's true.
And the way that the show has been written, with everybody being disposable, somehow he's managed to survive without a scratch the entire time.
Well, I do think they've... Again, I'm doing this well in defense and fair because there are glimmers. Now, I'm not saying you have to love him, but what they've set up for Hugo is that he's very self-preservation oriented.
Yes.
And he's very good at manipulating his way out of situations. Now, whether you buy that or not, I don't know. That is an element of the character, but they've just kind of made it a primary element.
Well, it's just the way that everybody else has either been stabbed or shot or had something horrendous happen to them. He's literally Teflon.
Yeah, but he also picks the side that's going to win. So he's like, I'll go with you now. I'll go
He's
with
Italian,
you now.
is what you're saying.
Spencer, that sounds like a personal problem.
I'm half Italian, I can say that. We during the Second World War switched sides 3 or 4 times. You got to do what you got to do to survive.
Whoa.
I was going to say, I was like, what?
And then he's talking English. Now, analyze
I know,
that World
right?
War II scenario.
It's beautiful. Jesus.
Allies versus Axis in his own genetics.
It's amazing what a little post-war makeup session can do.
Wow. This has just gone all over the place.
It's been fun.
It's been fun. I want to make sure that we've covered, because this was a very dense half season.
It was.
There is a lot going. There's a lot
There
of
was so
characters.
much.
I really got grossed out by Jerome's face.
Oh, I loved it.
I mean, I loved it. It was just gross.
Well, I got grossed out when
like-
Dwight started to cut
It's
it off and
supposed to.
wear it.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that accomplished two things. I mean, one, it's how the Joker looks in the comics now, with
Yes.
the face stapled
It
back
did.
on.
That's
But and
exactly-
that's also the best explanation I've seen for his smile, for the huge smile, because he misaligned it when he stapled it, so he had that huge Joker smile, which I thought was brilliant.
I did enjoy the way that they handled Dwight. With Dwight thinking he could take on that mantle, and nobody really seemed to want to follow him at all. That was very, very well done.
It was.
It was one of the better steps that the writers took.
Those 3 episodes were very, very, very tight. As was the one where the Riddler said, "I'm the Riddler," and started putting out presents and capers and question marks.
And that was great.
Smile.
I really enjoyed that, and I think the reason those 3 episodes were so tight is because they were actually closer to canon, and you took a gold storyline and you didn't mess with it too much.
Right.
Yeah.
Why can't you just do that a little more often? That's all I'm saying.
That's what season 4 should do, is start taking canon and turning it
And if
into
they did
screen
that, I'd
stories.
probably-
Yeah,
It works.
take canon and then add a slight Gotham touch to it. You don't have to go full-blown crazy Gotham.
Yes. Yes, husband.
It's
And that's
become
what
an
I'm saying.
adjective. Crazy Gotham.
And I could very well flip to the opposite end of the spectrum again if they started to go that route.
Put
But
the monkeys back in the cage and go to the
Yes.
comic book store. You have about 70 years worth of really decent material to work from.
seriously.
Yeah.
True.
Well, the best storyline they've done is the 3 episodes that are closest to canon.
I mean, he was so excited about it, he wanted to do a separate podcast just for those 3 episodes.
It's true.
It's true.
It
I
did.
did.
It wasn't very practical, listener.
No, it wasn't very practical,
He
but
was
it would have been,
very
it would have been
adamant.
really good to talk about it right after those.
It would have been.
I
But they were memorable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Very
I've
memorable.
rewatched those Jerome episodes like 3 times. I haven't done that with any episode of Gotham.
Wow. Neat.
Again, it's the well-played villains that make this show.
So let's hit on the cliffhanger, because that's going to set us up for season 4.
Which
So,
one?
the end of season cliffhanger.
I just feel like every single
Yeah,
storyline was a cliffhanger.
So I'll just hit on these bullet points real quick. The Penguin gets to capture the Riddler by exploiting Edward's obsessive need for completeness, and has Mr. Freeze freeze him in the spot where Edward originally shot Oswald. And now Frozen Edward's going to be a centerpiece in his new comic book reference club, the Iceberg Lounge. Barbara shoots Butch, and of course we learn he's Solomon Grundy, because apparently he didn't die with a gunshot wound to the head.
Dead center forehead.
Dead center forehead. He's still alive, folks.
It was Barbara shooting him, though. She's pretty incompetent.
She's very
She was using dumbbells.
Yeah.
Tabby fights Barbara and electrocutes her, doing her in once and for all, and I put in parentheses, can we hope? After showing up to the hospital for Bruce in light of Alfred's bout with death, and Bruce rebuffing her, Selena seeks out Barbara only to find Tabitha and gets the whip. She wants to move up as a criminal. She actually says that. Jim and Lee, ready to break out of Gotham, are cured of the virus thanks to the antidote, which was actually figured out by Lucius Fox. And the antidote is spread mistily over Gotham as well. Lee leaves Gotham with the letter to Bruce, and then Bruce takes up the masked crime fighting. No bats, just masked crime fighting.
I have a feeling, though, wearing the ski mask with the holes cut out, he's just going to get shot by somebody the second he charges out of the dark alley. He looks like a mugger.
A mugger in a $400 coat.
Yeah, right? I think he was just inspired by Raish's assassins, shadows, ninjas, whatever they're going by in this show. No, everyone's speechless. I read the cliffhanger and you're all sitting there.
Well, I mean,
You can't.
the writers, though, they could throw that, like, all those plot points out in the first episode, start with something crazy and different, because they've done that before.
So you don't even want to try to predict.
Well, here's the thing.
I will hope with the Iceberg Lounge that they're bringing Penguin and all of them, like, more comic book centric. But, like I said, I don't want to make predictions because the writers are so all over the place.
But they have had a habit of watching their social media and trying to steer more to what their core fans want, because, well, I wouldn't say their core fans, I'd say the Batman fans that still tolerate this show want. So maybe we'll
Some
start
of which
getting...
are in the room.
See, I feel like they do that for, like, the first 2 episodes where it comes back, and then they just go right back into their weird, crazy storylines.
I think they were good for the first 4 or 5, and then it was only when they stepped up the Court of Owls and the Tetch virus piece, it went...
Part of the problem with the Tetch virus piece was how terrible Mad Hatter was done.
Yeah, I mean, he had that one good scene last half season with Jim in Arkham, but he's still stupid. He didn't have any other good scenes, not even with Lee.
Well, he had one little scene where he was watching Barnes escape Arkham, and he was saying he was narrating his little rhyme, which I thought was good Mad Hatter, like that was Mad Hatter, but he didn't do anything.
No.
The scene was pointless.
They were like, we just gotta kind of fit him in a little bit.
And then they kept
so-
focusing on
Main
Barnes,
cast,
who
too.
was like the weakest villain the show has.
Yeah, the Executioner, I mean, you said C level. I think that's like D level.
Yeah.
And why
I couldn't take him
picked
seriously in that outfit.
I know.
He's a
Oh.
human
Either.
spork.
And
Yeah.
they totally ruined Michael Chiklis.
They did. They broke the commish.
It was real disappointing.
Well, that's what's like. I'm gonna have a hard time rewatching The Shield, which is so serious. And now I'm
He
always gonna
loves
picture
that
him.
show.
I'm always gonna picture him, saying those over the top lines with that axe hand.
You're all guilty.
Well, he was also the Thing in the Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, it was the thing.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
Those were good.
I think
Chris
the
Evans
main
was in that,
cliffhanger
too.
is the last
You're right, but he
visual
was the
they
best
gave
part.
us.
What?
The main cliffhanger is the last visual they gave us of
Which is
Bruce
on
yeah.
with the
rooftop.
silhouette, the very, very atypical Batman.
No Batman signal on the moon, but whatever.
Well, yeah, because he doesn't exist yet.
That's
But
what they were going
the
for.
question is, being that when they created this show, it was supposed to tell the backstory of so many other aspects of the universe. Now it seems like they are bringing Batman front and center. Are they going to go that route? Or are they going to just kind of give us that little taste at the end of the season and then do absolutely nothing with it next season?
Do you want to try to predict?
I predict that they will not do as much as...
They're leading.
That was a very large front and center moment to give you a lot of hope that you're going to start to really see Batman. But I don't think they're capable of-
That's the hook to get you to
That's
watch
the
next
hook to get you to
season,
watch
and then
next
they're gonna parcel it out. Whereas they should embrace it.
I think they're trying to start to follow the Smallville formula.
That's
How well that worked. And I think that's what they're going to want to try and do, but I'm not sure they're capable of carrying it off.
Not at the track record they're going.
No.
If they'd had, I mean, we talked about the Smallville parallel already. The Smallville's first, I would say, 5 or 6 seasons were very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not say the same about these first seasons of Gotham.
These first seasons of Gotham have had half episodes that have been fantastic. And then the 3 Joker episodes.
Plus the
were-
Riddler one.
And the Riddler one. I'll give you the Riddler one. The Riddler one was good. When he was setting up the bombs and the packages,
I had all the feels.
They felt like
I
the...
like it.
There was some 1960s Batman
trying
there
to
without
not make
all the
an
crazy
inappropriate
campy
joke.
parts. It was a more serious version of the 60s Batman, which I did like that.
And a cool suit.
So, yeah, I would say we had, out of 3 full seasons, which is 60 episodes?
Ish.
I would say we've had 5 full episodes worth of good material.
Wow.
Oh.
Oh my.
Oh my. I would give it a little more. But
I'm
would
more in his realm.
I know.
Sorry.
Enough to keep me watching, because I love Batman. He is my favourite of the heroes, because he's just a man. A billionaire with cool stuff, but he's just a
super
man.
smart.
At the end of the day, he is
One of the
just a
best
man.
martial artists there is, like the world's greatest detective. He's layered, and we haven't really gotten enough of that.
No, but nobody wants to predict. So
The only thing I'm going to predict is that the Riddler's going to get out of that ice.
Yeah,
He has
Boom!
to. If they leave him in the ice, they kill season 4.
pretty much, I agree.
Unless it's very Penguin-centric, because that would still save it.
No, I still think that he should get out of the
both
ice.
of them.
I think he'll get out of the ice in the first episode. I just think that was like they needed a conclusion to their war between
To their
the two.
revenge thing.
But then they know they need to keep that dynamic.
Did he have a walking stick when he was frozen?
No.
No.
That's a shame.
Corey Michael Smith really wants that,
Yeah.
but they're saying that's the last part you get, and then you'll be fully
Like
the
they said
Riddler.
that at Comic-Con, because somebody asked.
He needs the...
Well, he also said he had that in his contract. Is once they give him the cane, he gets to keep it.
It's
Nice.
the best cane, though. That of all the canes for all characters, I love the question mark cane.
I wonder how he escapes
But
the
your
ice.
farce
That will
cane.
be fun to see.
and his
No.
There has to be a
I
broken
remember
thermostat or something.
He's just kidding.
I'm just messing with you.
He's just
Have the
kidding.
writers corrected for the ills of season 2 and or the first half of season 3? Are they doing better, worse, or the same?
I don't. I mean, in certain spots, they're maybe doing a little bit better, but the problem is it's still floundering too much for me to say it's. So to me, it's still not good. Really, all that great of writing or anything like that.
At times, it was really good. but at times it was miserably bad.
I have a feeling it'll stay the same. I have a feeling there's things on next season I'm going to really love and things I'm going to hate.
It's an entertaining show, and if you don't know what they're getting wrong,
Well,
it's still an entertaining show. There's definitely character choices and things that the characters do that are still difficult, but it's not one of my favorite shows, but I really do enjoy watching the show. I will rewatch it, and I don't get angry
well,
about
because
it at
Spencer
all.
said maybe it benefits you by not being as big of a fan.
Just not having the source
definitely
material, it would actually... I do find it to be an entertaining show, but I get mad at the things that are inconsistent with canon.
My source material is the 60s show, the cartoon, and the 4... Actually, I've seen the Christopher Nolan movies as well, and there's enough difference that whatever they do is whatever it is. So I don't mind what they're doing.
I think they're doing...
Apparently you're wrong.
I think they're doing about the same or maybe a little better.
That's what I meant to say is the same.
But I agree with Spencer's take, and probably Kyle is saying the same thing. There are parts of it I'm going to love and parts of it that I'm still not going to love because I don't think they have the handle. It may be that I don't know what the writers are doing, but maybe they have different writers on different characters. And whoever's got Penguin and Riddler are doing a great job, understand, and whoever's got, like, for example, the Lee Jim Gordon piece has no idea.
It's chimpanzees
I have a
versus
feeling it might
orangutans.
actually be something like that. Like at that panel we went to Comic-Con, he said that Dan Cannon writes all the Penguin stuff.
Oh.
So...
I feel like it's really not a writing issue, but a show-running issue, and getting all the writers together. Like, that's supposed to be somebody's job, to make sure the season does feel like a solid show.
It's possible.
I feel like you said that the last time, and there's some truth to that.
Yeah, there is some truth to that, because sometimes it does feel like they just dropped it all in a blender and let it pour out.
But I do think that there is some pieces of the writing that are not good. And that actually goes not even just from knowing Batman's source material.
Just liking consistent
like I said,
stories.
These character doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
what
at all.
Episode... I don't get her motivation into the extreme she goes. And
or whoever's in charge of writing Jim Gordon.
Even some of the dialogue is very clunky.
Yes.
And I know Jim Gordon. I know that character. But like I said, even not knowing that character, they are, from a storytelling perspective, taking way too long for any audience member, new to the franchise or not, to care what he's going to turn into anymore. It's just taken too long. But my prediction, long haul, is that Bullock is becoming the character he is, where he was the drunk before. Mm-hmm. I think him dying is going to motivate Jim to take his place and have...
Oh, they can't kill him off.
Well, maybe they will.
Don't kill Donald Logue.
No,
in a couple years, long term, not season 4.
Not now. Jim's got to be the commissioner, but they have to work together as...
With Jim as the commissioner?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that character.
But it's just... That's probably my most bothersome thing about the show, is that Jim is really the Bullock character and Bullock is really the Jim character, and it's just the wrong way round.
If you could talk to the creators of Gotham from today's perspective, what would you say now? I'm asking this question every time because I think it's worth asking every time.
Could you please hold this target and walk down range for me?
Crack is whack!
I would say watch the animated series. Watch the animated series. It did its own thing in some aspects, but that held really true to the it kept the spirit of every character.
And I believe I said this before. You have 70 years worth of source material to go from. Use some of it because it's better than the crap you're pumping out.
But if you don't use the animated series, I'm going to jump on Kyle's bandwagon right there. That's a brilliant suggestion.
And I'll say, as the non-canon person, I also thought those 3 episodes, without knowing that they were canon or where they were coming from, it seemed like they had a stronger perspective to write towards because they had an idea of what they were doing because they were drawing from something.
Imagine that.
You just made Hilary's point.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yay! I'm not Kristen. I'm slightly above Kristen.
Isn't everybody slightly above Kristen?
I love you, Kristen!
You're speaking in literal stature.
Yeah.
Another short joke and she's not here.
Was that what?
Yeah.
That's what he did. That was his joke. I was explaining it to you.
Yeah. I think you took it.
My mouth shut. I did it. to my damn self.
He walked right through that door.
Are you going to keep watching Gotham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Okay.
Because the highlights do keep me wanting to watch.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the lowlights give me something to talk about.
That's true. If nothing else, listener, I hope you
We're to
find our
kinda knock it
podcast interesting and spicy. Would you recommend this show to others?
Not like jumping into this season.
No.
Like you wouldn't get a single
I
thing
would
that's
tell somebody, if they said, hey, how's Gotham? I would say watch those 3 episodes that we talked about, and maybe the 4th with the Riddler, although that one would seem very out of place. But those 3 episodes really were fantastic.
It's hard to not recommend going from the beginning, and I feel like season 1 was a lot rougher. So it'd be hard to put that onto someone.
I haven't changed.
It's
my
like
mind.
I'd really have to measure their level and interest in shows of this genre.
There's 4 other DC shows that they can watch first.
That's what I said the last time, but
Yeah.
I'm sticking with it. So here again, Batman's one of my favorites, and it would be really hard to convince somebody who is only a borderline comic book person or not a comic book person to say, you should watch Gotham, because I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to them because they're all over the place. And I would dissuade them from watching all the comic book properties if this was the one that they chose to watch.
Yeah.
If they're not a Batman fan, there's other Batman source material too.
There really is.
Just a little.
Just a few.
And some of it's really, really good.
With that said then, what I would like to do at this time is thank Hilary, Kyle, Spencer, and Nick for joining me once again to talk about Gotham. And because this is what we do here, we talk, we're also going to do this thing, because I do this thing every time. CPU is produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play. That means give us stars, give us a comment, give us a review. Let the people know what you're listening to. Let us know what you're listening to and whether or not you like it. We're open to constructive comments and criticism. Just be nice. And
Nicer than we were to Gotham.
Yeah, nicer than we were to Gotham. I know
Amen.
it's kind of a double standard.
I
but
was pretty nice.
So just be like Nick. If you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, via email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via Facebook and Twitter. Though, of course, as I always say, we're adding new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. We have several more new episodes coming down the pike. Summer is our busy season. We're trying to review all of those ends of seasons that we typically do at this time. If you're missing any of our episodes or wonder if we're covering them, just search for us on the web, come to the blog. You can find any of our old episodes. We're everywhere. Subscribe to us, subscribe to our social media, subscribe to our channels. Stay up on new events and episodes. Until the next time, Gotham currently can be streamed on Netflix through Season 2. Currently, only the last 5 episodes of Gotham are available at Hulu or on Fox's streaming app. Typically, Fox does release the entire season sometime just shortly before the next season premieres, so it won't be, easy to catch up, but it is possible. Keep a wary eye toward that little red icon, who really should give us some money. In the meantime, we will reconvene to talk about Gotham after Season 4's first half, because it's half seasons around this one. Until next time, until the next episode, keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned. Bye-bye. We'll return, same bat time, same bat channel.
Na 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 na.